So it looks like we're live here now, and you know what? Sorry, guys, I have to apologize. I had the stream set up for 11 p.m. and something came up, so I had to like switch it around and move it to 11:30. So it's a little delayed, but be patient with me, and let's see what we can get into here. Sorry, and once again, I'm playing with my setup. This is a different place than I did my last stream, so kind of computer's over here, and I gotta go look over here sometimes to see some stuff. So bear with me for a few, okay? Bear with me. Just 1 second here. Anyways, so we will get into this now. And you know what? So I was basically, I got over here for a second, guys. I was basically at TFcon Toronto last weekend and had an amazing time. And you know, I go every year. I think this is like, oh man, I think this is like my 12th or 14th year going. So like I go a lot, and it's one of the key places where I actually pick up Transformers. And so I kind of did like a vlog type style, like where I just I recorded a bunch of interactions while I was there. I'm working on that. I'll get that up on the channel soon. But basically what I want to do here now is just super quick. I picked up what I would consider a ton of stuff, because I've seen other people who like post their TFcon hauls and they have like 5 things. And I picked up a lot of stuff. I made a lot of pre-con deals, and that's a little secret. I actually did a video on it like last year and nobody watched it. It's kind of a little secret I go on with, whereas like if you can make pre-con deals, that is the best place to get some really crazy deals. People sell stuff for crazy cheap. People are willing to trade stuff. It works out fantastic, and I highly recommend it. And you'll see, I don't have like really like noted what I traded for or what I got as a pre-con deal, but I got a ton of stuff. And so I got like a bag of goodies down here, and I'm just going to basically pick it up. Just sorry, 1 second. I'm looking here for something. I'll just kind of pick it up and go through what I got. And you know what? Let's start off. So the first thing I picked up at the con was this little beauty, this Decepticon Viper from Combiner Wars, which is just a Power Glide repaint, but oh so cool. As a G.I. Joe collector, you'll see it has, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. It has that little Cobra Rattler logo on it, like their Cobra Ear Guard type thing or whatever. And so it basically turns into a Cobra Rattler. I mean, I didn't have this. I don't know if I've ever seen this at retail when it was around, but you know what? This was a must get. We all know that probably there's going to be a classified Cobra Rattler announced on the 25th. So I figured this is a good start. This was a pretty cool little pickup. Highly recommend it if you're into G.I. Joe. And it's pretty cool. I'm glad I was able to get this. Anyways, so that was you'll see that when the vlog comes out. That was it's going to be in it for sure. That was the first thing I was able to pick up at 2024 TFcon in Toronto. Anyways, pretty sweet. I'll just throw that down there. Now, there's no order to this. I'm just picking it up, kind of going through the box stuff, because to get it all the way, it's really big. This is, of course, a Legacy United Gears, and he was on my want list for a while. And like, obviously, this is a new thing that you can find at retail. Well, I mean, if you can find it. And as a rule, I don't buy a lot of stuff at retail because it's expensive. But at conventions, you can get deals. See, so this, I actually did a room trade. So after Saturday night, you go around, people list their rooms, you go into their rooms, their hotel rooms, and they have all their stuff laid out. Like, hey, do you want to buy this stuff? I often bring my own stuff. I call it like the mobile parts party. And I brought it to a bunch of rooms. A friend of mine had this, and I ended up trading a couple of 50th anniversary G.I. Joe modern figures for this, like a sealed mint on card one. So I traded them too. I just wanted to get rid of them, and I really wanted Gears, so it worked out great. So I picked up Gears. I left them in the box. I left stuff in the box because I knew I wanted to do this stream, and it was just easier to do that way. So really excited to finally get Gears. and gonna get this guy unboxed shortly. So moving on. So that's two things we got. This thing, next thing, I picked up a Legacy Evolution bombshell. I got shrapnel up here somewhere. Can't see him, is out of frame. No, not shrapnel. I got kickback. I got kickback. The first one, the Legacy in Insecticon. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get all three. And this one was on somebody's table for a good price. And I think I had traded or sold some stuff. So I was able to pick this up. I've actually never really seen this guy at my local retail. So I was like, I don't usually buy stuff like this at TFcon in the box. Like I traded for gears, but I picked this guy up because he was a good price at a table. And I'm happy to get him. Bombshell is a pretty cool character. And you know what? I need shrapnel now. And the way it goes, I don't know, a lot of people have seen shrapnel. Like it's kind of one of those missing ones. I'll probably pick them up at TFcon next year, or you'll put them on my want list, and somebody will along the way will say, hey, I have one for sale, and I'll pick them up. No rush. See, the thing I do, I play the long game. I don't rush into buying things. So, you know, I've got these two Insecticons now. Need a third one. The long game, I'll get them eventually. So, Bombshell was a good deal. Glad I was able to get him. Next up. Now, this is something I don't ever get. So, I picked up the Shockwave RED figure. Now, I don't even have any of the RED figures because, I mean, they're action figures. They're not really Transformers. But that's not a big deal because I was telling somebody at the con, I treat my Transformers like action figures where I don't often transform them. Once they're in robot form and they're displayable, I don't actually usually transform them a lot. So I've actually been on the hunt for the Masterpiece Shockwave or Laser Wave. And this guy, I mean, he's not the same as the Masterpiece, but he's pretty sweet. He looks pretty sweet. He's going to be a nice little desk ornament. I might not keep them here with my collection. I might bring this guy, unbox him. I might bring this guy and put him on my desk at work. So, because I think he's pretty cool. Of course, this guy he's mint in the box. And I did a trade for him. I actually traded a movie retro hound that I got on clearance, which you've probably seen in a video on my channel. I got him for like $8 or $10 at Walmart. So that was a sweet, sweet trade for RED Shockwave. Let me know in the chat if you guys need any of it or like some of this. Anyways, just replying to the chat there. Anyways, guys, sorry. The chat's over here in the window, and I don't really have a good setup yet. So if I'm missing your questions or anything, just be patient, please. Anyways, so let's get to the next thing. So once again, we're doing the box stuff kind of to get that out of the way. This is something that I've been looking for a while. This is the retro movie Skywarp. This thing it didn't really, like some of the other ones, they showed up a lot in Canada and they were like easy to get, quote unquote easy to get. Of course, they're expensive, but a lot of them went on clearance. Skywarp, I didn't see him a lot. I see him at two places. These things here in Canada, I think they start at like $45 plus tax. So it's like $50 more or a little bit more to get this here. It's not really worth that. I personally don't think so. So a lot of times they go on clearance, and you know, once they go on clearance, it's a pretty good price. But I had an American friend, and these babies went on sale on Walmart for $22. And I messaged him like, hey, do you think you can pick one up for me? And he's like, sure, I'll meet you at TFcon. So big shout out to Ben. He got me this, and basically this was a sweet thing. I basically have all of these now, and it's I complained about how much they actually are, but this is one of my favorite series. I know they're just reissues, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Transformer reissues. And I really like the whole line. I have the whole line now, like of what I would consider this retro redo packaging. I have these new Soundwave with a 40th anniversary packaging, but I actually don't have the blaster right now. So I'll get the blaster at some point. Of course, we're still waiting on a rumored bombshell with Ram Horn and potentially an Optimus Prime Generation 1 reissue as well. But I mean, more details hopefully following soon from Hasbro at some point. But anyway, super excited to finally get Skywarp. Now, of course, I have all mine retro reissues sealed at the moment. And of course, with this no window box, I'm actually quite nervous to actually ever go and open them and be like, oh, I've been duped, and that they actually don't have the figure inside of them. You see that a lot, hey? I guess ignorance is bliss. I'll keep them sealed, and I'll pray that that's what's inside of them. I can feel that, yeah, there's something there anyways. But so that was a big pickup, big sweet deal. Actually, so this, check this out. Check this out. Boom. Look at this jumbo collector's case. I got this at a sweet deal, a pre-con deal actually, and I was not prepared on how big this thing was. Like, look how big this thing is, and it opens up, and it's got this like all this like stuff inside of it, and it's got a little compartment down here for stuff. It's kind of weird. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'll ever use it. I got a good price on it, and I thought it would be just a cool thing to have as part of the collection. Basically, that's a really sweet artwork there. It's the same as the sticker book, which I actually picked up at TFcon last year. There was a guy selling the Panani or whatever, the sticker books. He was giving them out, or not giving them out. He was selling for like $10 or whatever, and he must have found like a warehouse full of them. Anyways, long story short, that's off topic. This guy, definitely, I don't know where I'm going to put it. It's really big. And like I said, look how big it is compared to my head. I was not prepared on how big that thing is. Anyways, so blazing through some stuff here. So, that was a lot of the package stuff. And actually, now that I think about it, I did put one thing away, and I'm kind of too lazy to get it. Actually, give me 1 second, 10 seconds. I'm right here. Just 1 second. Okay, sorry. I put one thing away. This was my last package thing. Was, of course, the G.I. Joe All Striker Bumblebee combo or whatever. I passed on this at retail when it was out because it was kind of expensive. And basically, I got a really good deal on this at TFcon as well. So I'll have it with my Megatron now as well. So I picked up Megatron on a sweet deal on Amazon when it came out. But I've been waiting on this one. Anyway, so I'm not the Ostraker is really cool. I'm not really a fan of what they did with the Bumblebee. And, of course, the Stalker is cool, too, because it's an L-ring figure. As a G.I. Joe collector, this part of it's really cool. Not really sold on this Transformer part of it, but it's a cool series. I'll probably end up getting the Soundwave at some point as well. And of course, another rumored stuff, we're waiting on the Cup and the Optimus Prime Mobat as well. Check out videos on the channel about those if you want to know more about those. Anyways, so that's the last box thing that I got at TFcon. Just see here 1 second. Sorry, I'm just doing something. And okay, okay, yep. And oh shoot, just 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm back. So let's dig into some loose stuff that I picked up at TFcon. Where will I start with first? Okay, so this is a weird pickup. This is Scoop. And I mean, this is the thing. I passed on this guy numerous times when he was originally released, and I just didn't pick him up. But somebody was selling him for $10. He was complete. He came with both Target Masters. I mean, I didn't have him, so I picked him up. And I mean, he's pretty sweet. He's pretty posable, and he'll go in the old collection. So I mean, I was happy with that. I think you can't pass for $10. They're gonna get a complete old figure that you missed. I think that's a pretty sweet deal. So let me know if you think that's a pretty sweet deal. Anyways, so I won't spend too long on that guy. I'm just going to start to pile these guys here. There's a whole whack of mess behind me here. Anyways, let's see. Stick with other modern figures. So one, for some reason, well, actually, that's not for some reason. I really enjoy the Earthrise series. And basically, one of the only ones I didn't have was Sunstreaker. And of course, now they've released that new like animated 5-pack where they just have all like blue windshields and they look more cartoon accurate. So people are ditching their original Sunstreaker. Actually, I had a pre-con deal where some guy was going to sell me one for like $20. I never heard from him at the con, so I found one on a table somewhere, and it was so funny because I just wanted to confirm. There's some kid, quote unquote kid, some like teenager guy, kid working the table. And I asked him like, "Hey, is that Earthrise Sunstreaker?" And he's like, "Dude, I don't know." And I'm like, "Can you find out? Can you confirm?" He's like, "I'm pretty sure it is." I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "I'm pretty sure it is," but I just wanted him to confirm that it was. Anyway, so long story short, it was it. So I was basically loose or whatever. I was fine with that. It's cool. If you're a fan of the channel, I'm not a completist. I don't buy 100% complete Generation 1 figures. I don't really care necessarily if everything is complete. First of all, Generation 1 complete figures are really expensive. But I basically run the rule of like, I just need a sample of this. Like, I don't need it 100% complete. I've got the figure now. He's got the place in my collection. So I'm happy with this. This is a good pickup for me. Also, I mean, that 5-pack has that Hound that everyone was waiting on in it. I'd love to have Hound. But once again, I'll play the long game for the Hound. And somebody will pass on him at some point. But happy to get Sunstreaker in the collection. Okay, so sticking with more modern figures, this one has been on my want list for a long time. Of course, we're talking about Studio 86 Braun. This guy is so cool. I mentioned earlier that I really enjoy Earthrise. One of the things that I do really like is the 86 Studio series. I pretty much have them all. The movie is like the movie and the movie characters are really cool. I really enjoy them. Because I mean, I was 6 when the movie came out or whatever. So like they are a big part of my growing up with Transformers. But the 86 Braun, super cool. And I love this guy. Super awesome. He even got his little gun. Pew, pew. Anyways, so pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here. Now we have, let me see, boom, animated Grimlock. So basically, for whatever reason, I obviously have I have a lot of Transformers animated. I don't have the whole series. Once again, I'm not a completist, but I have like 95% of it. Like, let's forget about like exclusives and like rare Japanese figures. I just mean like the ones at retail. So I have about 95% of the animated figures, but for some reason I ended up keeping a boxed Ultra Magnus and a boxed Grimlock. And so at TFcon, I sold the Ultra Magnus and the Grimlock because I don't really do boxed figures because, like, I mean, it's just not how I collect. So basically, I wanted to make sure that I was able to get a Grimlock back in return. So I sold the box one, but got a loose one. I got a pretty good deal on it too. So basically, he's filled that hole now. So the animated collection is still going strong. The only thing that I do need for animated is I have a purple Shockwave and I need the cannon. So if anyone out there in YouTube world has a purple Shockwave cannon, just lying about, let me know. Okay, so that's what I am looking for. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna bring the box a little closer. This might make it a little easier. So right now, we're kind of getting back into vintage stuff. So you know what, like going into TFcon, I did make sure that I had a want list. So I had a full want list of like every figure that I wanted from each series. And then I kind of narrowed down to like things have a priority, right? So like I wanted to get that the Braun, the 86 Braun. I wanted to make sure I got him. So I was on the prowl for a deal for him, and I got him. So you knock those things off your list or whatever. And so one thing I did was you can see behind me sort of like it's not really lit up properly. I have a large Generation 1 collection. It's not even all that. There's some over there. And basically it's come to the point where there's only a few figures left that I kind of want. There's always going to be something that you don't have, but some figures you don't really care about. Like I sold all my Pretenders like a few years ago at TFcon. I didn't really care for them. They didn't have a spot in my collection. And last year I sold Action Masters. Didn't really care for them. Didn't have a spot in my collection. So, you just basically do what you want to do. Anyways, I'm rambling. One thing I did was I did narrow it down to about 5 or 6 Generation 1 Transformers that I was looking for at the con. And I have to be honest, I did a pretty good job. So the first one was Cloudraker. I didn't have Cloudraker, so I actually only had Fastlane. I think his name is Fastlane. And somebody seen that I was looking for a Cloudraker, and they're like, "Hey, I have a Cloudraker, but I kind of want to sell these guys together." So what I did was like, okay, he's like, make a deal. We made a deal. I picked up 2 of his figures, and now I have an extra Fastlane, which I put my extra Fastlane in my trade pile. So it worked out great. I still made something from it. So that is it. Now, of course, Fastlane is missing his spoiler, and Cloudraker is missing his other gun. He's kind of loosey-goosey, too. He's a little loosey-goosey. But anyways, I mean, like I said, it's just for me. It's just for my collection. So it's the sample. It's just a sampling of the figure, and that's good enough for me. Anyways, so as we continue, let's see. Oh, I managed to, once again, on that list that I made, I managed to get a, can we zoom in? I managed to get a Pipes. I think basically this might be the last, okay, I was going to say this is the last mini bot I need. And as I was about to say that, I realized as a Transformer collector, I don't actually have an original Bumblebee. He never really appealed to me. So I don't actually have a Bumblebee in the collection. Now I've got reissues, but I don't have an original one. I almost purchased one at TFcon, but I held off for now. I'll get one eventually. But anyway, so that's why I started to say that this was the last mini bot, but I don't have a Bumblebee, so I do need a Bumblebee. But this was one of the figures. Pipes was one of the figures on my list with Cloudraker. So that's 2. Then from the same person, no, actually from somebody else, I won't transform him. I ended up getting I ended up getting Ramhorn. And it's not focusing. Anyways, he's good. He's complete. He's got both sides of his thing. And weirdly enough, 3 things on my list were Generation 1 tapes. And it's so weird that it just worked out that way. So I got Ramhorn. I didn't transform him yet, but he's in good shape. And he's got both accessories. So that's a win. Another thing off that list. Check. I'm going to grab another one. This one was a big score. We've got, come on, guys. Frenzy. Now, before anyone says anything, I don't care what you say. Red is Frenzy. I grew up on the cartoon. The cartoon will always be blue is Rumble, red is Frenzy. The toy I know is named Frenzy. Is named Rumble. But for me, the toy will always be red is Frenzy. So it actually came. I got a sweet deal on this guy at TFcon. He only came with 1 blaster, but I picked up another blaster at a table, which we'll talk about in a few minutes at TFcon. Sweet deal. When I originally transformed him, his head didn't pop out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got a dud of a figure. And I was kind of disappointed, but easy. Got some tweezers, took his head out. All what had happened was that the spring in there had just not, I was no longer aligned with the little divot on his head. Put it back on, boom, works like magic. So this, I think Frenzy here, my Frenzy, is probably one of the best things I picked up at TFcon this year. The things that make me the happiest most, but that's a sweet deal. Anyways, we'll put him back here. And another thing that I picked up was, I think this is Rewind, or is it Eject? Somebody might want to correct me on that. Somebody might want to correct me. I'm not really sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, either way, another sweet tape. So I got 3 tapes at TFcon. That is pretty sweet. I'm happy with that. Something else I got at TFcon, like, okay, guys, if you ever go to like TFcon or any convention, you gotta dig through the bins underneath people's tables, because you can find some gems there. Now, the number one thing I enjoy the most as a Transformer collector, as a Generation 1 Transformer collector, is fixing up busted and broken Generation 1 Transformers. We'll go through that in a second, but as I was looking for pieces and parts to different things, I found this, and it's nothing special. It's just a Quake. It doesn't have the extra gun. It doesn't have its Target Masters, but you know what? It will certainly do as a placeholder in my collection for now, because I just don't have Quake. So I'm good with that. So, I mean, I think he was like, I think I paid like $2 or $3 for this guy or something like that, like really cheap. And I think that's a fair deal. Anyways, so that's that. Now, one of the last Generation 1 figures I bought was this guy. I have my little, I don't have it out. I have a little collector book that's like a little Bible of all the Transformers. It's by Mark Bellomo, and it's like a little field guide. So it's not one of those big books. It's like literally like a book like this big, and you flip through and it has all the Transformers in it. And what I do, I did a video on this as well, and people didn't agree with it. Those books are for me. And so what I do when I get a Transformer or I have one for G.I. Joe, I check it off. I check it off to say, I have this. According to my book, I do not have this guy, and I haven't actually gone through and verified that I actually need this guy, but he was there and I seen him, and the book said I needed him, so I picked him up. So I might end up with doubles of this guy, but I can't remember what his name is. Nightfall? I don't know what his name is. If you know what his name is in the chat, you leave it in comments or something like that, because I can't remember what this guy is. Anyways, pretty cool. So that is basically it for Generation 1 Transformers that I purchased. But I mentioned earlier that I do enjoy restoring Generation 1 Transformers. And one of the biggest things I did this year was I went through all those junk bins in the bottom of people's tables, and I made sure that I picked up parts that I needed, or I knew there was a good chance I needed, or whatever. So, for example, some guy had a blot here. Now, nobody cares about blot. It's like, this is like the weirdest Transformer ever, right? But I had one that was missing this arm, this purple arm. And it was in part of my collection. It was in my junk pile. And would you not believe it? But crazy enough, I was digging through this guy's bin, and he had a blot that was missing this arm. So I bought it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to put it together, and now I have a single good one to add to the pile. And now I already have a blot, but this one's going in the trade pile. And that's the number one thing I like to do. I like to rebuild Generation 1 Transformers, give them a second chance, and put them in the trade pile. So that's one. What you'll see here is This is a actual bag of Insecticons. I don't know why. I am kind of obsessed with rebuilding Insecticons. They're really easy to rebuild. Of course, most likely two are Shrapnel and Kickback. They're pretty easy to do. Like Generation 1 Transformers are held together with screws. And basically, you take the screws out, stuff falls apart, you replace the part, and you put the screw back in, and it works out great. I just realized these are my extra parts that I'm left over with, where I'll try to find more parts to fix these guys up. But I actually put together 2 Shrapnels and a Kickback from parts that I paid for like $2 or $3 for these parts, and it was sweet. So I'm really happy with that, and they're in my Generation 1 trade pile. One thing I was surprised about TFcon this year, I actually, throughout the year, what I do is kind of like, I purposely kind of save up my extra Transformers that I come across or I'll buy at the thrift store, and with the purpose of bringing them to, say, TFcon to trade, to do deals, to sell. And I went with what I would consider a fairly large assortment of loose Generation 1 Transformers, and I was surprised at how much I came home with. I thought they were going to be for sure sellers, and a lot of people didn't pick them up. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there. Well, I can certainly for sure sell them locally, but I thought they would sell at the TFcon, and they didn't, which is weird. I don't know if there's probably maybe a younger generation of Transformer fans that don't necessarily care about vintage figures anymore. I don't even know if that's the case, or maybe I just didn't do a good enough job of advertising that I had them for sale, and I'll do better next year. That might have been the case. We'll see how it goes. But either way, normally I like to sell or trade vintage for vintage, basically. But I mean, if it comes down to it, I'll throw all the Generation 1 Transformers in a lot and put them on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm guaranteed they'll sell and make some money. And usually what I do is when I make that money, I put it right back in the collection and pick up things that I need. So we talked about the Insecticons. Another thing that I actually restored is this Inferno. When I say restored, like obviously this is not like perfect. Like you were talking about like some of the guys on YouTube that like, they go in and like, they're like, detailing and I mean that this was an incomplete bot, and I was able to get its head, get an extra arm from a friend, and basically have a complete bot right now. And, that somebody might want to purchase for cheap or trade for down the line that doesn't have an Inferno. So that's one thing I'm working on. I'm putting back in here. If I move some of this stuff quickly, okay, this was hilarious because you can see that this Hot Rod is actually missing his hood and his head. That's fine, but I actually had a Hot Rod body that didn't have this the spoiler and glass front thing. That was gone, and it didn't have any rubber wheels on it. And I was like, this is like junk. It was literally just like a slab or whatever. And would you not believe that I walked up to some guy's table and he had one that had wheels and had rubber wheels, and there was another part or something like that. And oh my God, excuse me. I just burped. I apologize to all the fans out there in YouTube land. Anyways, long story short, I purchased it. I smacked them together, and now I basically just have to find that hood, and that guy is going to be restored. So that is another project. And I had a weird obsession at TFcon this year, and I'm not really sure what happened, but I for some reason I picked up a lot of Perceptors. I kept on getting them in lots. So basically, I've got a couple of projects here. I think there's actually one more. I think he might be in the junker bag. But I've got a couple of them. They've got different varying conditions of chrome on them. This guy's got basically better stickers. He's got both his little accessories. He's got his head working. different layer, a different chrome. And of course, this guy is doing pretty good too. He's pretty good. The only thing is missing the glass in here. So he's getting near complete as well. Another one for the trade pile eventually. And see, I even got an extra, like his glass thing. I can see you out there in YouTube land. Anyways, so that's kind of cool too. Let me just check something here. We'll just do that. And we'll do that. Anyways, so that's what they're my restore projects. And basically, we'll get into a couple last things I did pick up at TFcon. And let's see what we did here. Now, besides Generation 1 figures, I also usually go to TFcon. I go to Toronto one. Obviously, the Toronto one was basically the original TFcon. It became so successful that they started to expand to the United States. Now we have TFcon Baltimore, Orlando, LA. They bounce them around on the East Coast a bit. And of course, they're very popular. Anyways, so what I do is, besides the list of Generation 1 figures, I always go with a list of Generation 1 accessories that I need. Now, if you've ever been to TFcon Toronto before, there's a gentleman who's always set up on the front, and you'll see the table in my vlog that I'm going to release in the next couple of days, Russ. And Russ has, I don't know where he gets it. I don't know if he has a time machine or whatever, but he has the largest selection of Generation 1 accessories I've ever seen. He comes to every TFcon, and I make sure I go see Russ. And what I actually do, I'll let people in on a secret. I don't know if he wants people to know this, but you can actually trade with Russ. And what I do is, I know that he's interested in Generation 1 figures because that's his business, right? He's going to complete Generation 1 figures, and then he's going to sell them to people at the convention. That is cool. That's what he does. So I know he does that, and I'm fine with that. So what I do is, I often go in with stuff that I think maybe Russ wants. And what I do is, I just offer him, like, hey, do you want to trade? And he'll go through and he'll be like, hey, I'll take, this, or this. And, and he gives me credit in his store. And I like that a lot, because sometimes when you're dealing with Generation 1 parts, they can be pricey. So if I can get stuff at a discount, and, it turns out that he wants it, and he's willing to give me some like a credit in his store to buy the parts that I need, I'm totally cool with that. So I actually, this year, I think last year I sold him a bunch of my Action Masters, which I mentioned earlier. And this year I sold him a Generation 2 Bruticus that was about 95% complete. And a couple other things, like a Sandstorm, a Generation 1 Sandstorm, and a Generation 1 Vortex. And basically, he gave me a bunch of credit in his store. And what I used it to get was, I had this Astro Train. It's really minty, and I was like, you know what, I think for like under $10 he had a gun for Astro Train. So I was like, well, I'm gonna buy the gun for Astro Train. Now this is complete, I can sell this complete, so that helps me. What I did get though in his store, and like I said, I had a list, and one of the major things on my list was I needed a TFcon battery cover for his tail. And you know what? TFcon's up there. You can't see him. He's up here somewhere. And you can't see his tail, but I know it's not there. So I made sure I got this. This was a big get. I was happy to get this. It was one of my priority things I wanted to get. So I was interested in that. Where'd my baggy stuff go? I ended up getting a Sunstreaker's Fists. I have 2 of those. And there was a couple things. I ended up getting a part for one of the Insecticons that I restored. Actually, two of the Insecticons that I restored. And a bunch of other things as well. Oh, one of the other things. Let me just stand up here for a second. Sorry, guys. If I can do this without knocking stuff over. Just one second. Just one second. Just one second. Okay. One of the things I ended up getting, oops, I clicked the button here. I ended up getting Hardhead's gun, and that was cool too because it basically completes the figure for me now. Obviously, I don't have his rifle, but this is his bot is complete now. Once again, I said earlier, I just need a sample of things. I don't need him 100% complete. Maybe I'll pick up his gun in a trade in the long term down the road, or I'll go back to Russ next year and I might pick it up. So that guy will be complete. We'll see how it goes. But happy because now, remember that list I was talking about? One of those things on the list that I did not get, the only thing is basically a Generation 1 highbrow. It's a highbrow. He's the headmaster. He's the smart headmaster, the Aqua Jet. I need him. And basically, once I get him, I'm pretty much not complete. You'll never be complete, but I have a lot of Generation 1 figures, and that is one of the last guys I need. There was a few other things from the Russ's table. One of the things I had this is here it goes. It's a Micromaster. It's a Decepticon 2 pack, and it goes and it makes a kind of a Blackbird. I have a large collection of Micromasters, and I have the other half, and I've had it for like years, and I never clued in. I'm like, wait a second, maybe somebody at TFcon might have that other part. So I got it from Russ. So it's pretty sweet. So I got to put that guy together. I'm going to keep him out actually, and I'm going to fix him up. So there was other stuff. I can't remember what other stuff I got. Like, I'm doing pretty good for Generation 1 parts. I actually needed a Starscream, 2 Starscream fists, and to complete my Starscream. And basically, Russ didn't have any for sale, but my American friend Ben had one. So I got one. Now I'm down to one. I just need one more. And the only thing that I came home empty-handed on was I actually have a couple of Blitzwings with the T-bar to keep the turret on, and I just need the turret. So if anyone has any stuff to trade out there, I need the turret. I'll get it eventually or whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, once again, this is just to put a figure together so I can put it in my trade pile. I already have a Blitzwing somewhere in the case there. So I'm trying to think now. Was there anything else that TFcon? One thing this is going to sound completely weird or whatever. Last year when I was at TFcon, I picked up a G.I. Joe classified Serpentor. I was really on the hunt, hoping that somebody would have a G.I. Joe classified Snow Job. I didn't see one, and I was kind of disappointed about that. But you really can't be disappointed about not getting a G.I. Joe at a Transformer convention, right? So, anyways, oops. So basically, I think that is it. Oh, wait now. I got one more little thing. I'm a sucker for Sharkticon, and so I've already got one of these guys. You can't see it. He's up here. He's just out of frame, and somebody gave me a good deal on this little Sharkticon. So I got this guy. I got the little guy, and somewhere I ended up. Oh, just before going to the convention, I ended up getting this guy, the 86 Sharkticon, which of course 86 series, the best series going. And I'm working on completing a Generation 1 Sharkticon as well. Oh, geez, that's really bright. No, let's go. Anyways, got to work on the lighting here. It's really bright. I just need that other blue arm to finish them on this side. But this guy is pretty sweet. I really like the Sharkticons. Once again, like I said earlier in the stream, 86 movie really did it for me. I really like the 86 movie. A lot of people don't. I enjoy it. Okay, so I think that is up. I think that's it for the stream. So, you know what, guys? If you could like this, that'd be great. I'll probably do a couple more of these. I teased I think last year sometime. I have about 3 bins in the garage of just random toys. I think I'm just going to do another stream for that someday. In the next, maybe this week, actually. I'll try to open them up. We'll go through it. You'll find stuff. I'll find stuff I didn't even remember having. A lot of it might go up for sale at some point. Because, I mean, if it's been in a box for like 10 years and I don't know I have it, I probably don't need it. Because your collections change over the years, right? And what you want and what you want to keep changes. And you got to get rid of the old stuff. And most time you can get some money for it. You might as well just sell it and put that money back in the collection. Anyways, so that is the stream for right now. You know, I rambled a lot. I really appreciate you watching. If you can, leave a like, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you've seen anything that was really cool, or maybe if you were at TFcon, what did you pick up? Or are you planning to go to one of the American TFcons? Let me know in the comments. Let's get a discussion on the go, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.